Peace. What's up? This is Mr. Ellipsism. Um, this is a follow-up video to the last video I did about um black women who perm, weave, and wig, and how because they do that they're not ashamed or hate being black, but they just hate Black African hair. First, I want to give a shout out to two of my homegirls, Jolly Ali and Aisha Sekmet, who provided some really good comments in that video and raised some issues that I think definitely need to be addressed. And the issues that they raised were the issues of alopecia, women with alopecia, and women with chemical burns from when they were younger. I think Aisha Sekmet said that she had got a perm when she was 4 years old, and it's actually in that movie Good Hair with Chris Rock. They touched on that, like they had women perming these. I mean, I think the baby was like 2, 3, and they were perming their hair. I mean, what I'm a bit confused on is why is the whole anti-perm thing, like when you mention that you're anti-perm, it seems like people get defensive about that. Like, why? If you perming and messing up a young baby's hair, and then that baby gets chemical burns that affect the woman to the point where she has to cover up and everything because of all the spots and stuff in her hair and the severity of the damage, it would seem to me that you would be anti perm. Like, who's pro perm in light of this? If we're dealing with chemical burns and damaged hair due to a perm, why would somebody take me to task because I'm saying we shouldn't be doing that shit? You know? I mean, that's just my take on it. But I do believe that those issues are legitimate. Like, if a woman has alopecia and she's got spots, bald spots, and the hair is not growing in certain things, I mean, I can't speak on that because I'm not, that's not something that affects me. I can give my take on it, but who gives a shit? If I'm not dealing with it, how can I say anything to anybody? But I can speak to one thing, um, and it's the whole issue of shame. And if you look historically and how people have been managed to overcome the issue of shame, is that you have to take the wind out of the sails of shame and you have to deflate it and address it so that nobody can say anything about it. It's like perfect example. You remember there was a guy back in the 80s, um, club singer. His name was Sylvester. And Sylvester was about as flaming a homosexual as you could possibly be. I mean, off the chain gay. And he did I think his most popular song was "You Make Me Feel Mighty Real, Mighty Real." Now, for you to go up to Sylvester and say, "Yo, you faggot, you homo," you look like a fool because it's like he revels in whatever he is. So it's like you calling Sylvester a faggot. What power does that give? What power does that take away from him, and what power does it give to you? How do you affect him in any way? He's embraced what he is. And I'm just using that as an example. Biggie Smalls. When Biggie Smalls came out, Biggie Smalls wasn't no movie star looking dude. And he said in one of his lyrics, "Fat, black, and ugly," or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So what you gonna do? You're gonna go up to Biggie Smalls and say, "Damn, you ugly." You know what I'm saying? It's like you take the power away from people by embracing the thing that people think you should be ashamed of. And I said in my video, and I said it's 100%. I see a lot of brothers out here holding on to locks where they got receding hairlines. They got, you got your hairline going to the top of your head. You holding on, and then you got long locks holding on, trying to keep this long hair. Son, give it up. Go bald. Michael Jordan had a receding hairline. Rather than just try to hold on to his hair, he cut the whole thing off and went bald. And look what happened. Brothers, all in the hood just say, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna cut that crap off and go bald. And then it became a style. All it's gonna really take, I agree with Jolly in the sense that this. I think that the hair issue is something that I wouldn't say that the men need to stay out of it because, come on, if we're gonna do that, if women are going to make statements that, well, the men shouldn't be involved in the hair issue because it ain't got nothing to do with them, well, then my response to that is the women shouldn't be involved in the men issue because it ain't got shit to do with you. I don't want to hear no woman talking about, yo, a real man. What the fuck you know about a real man? And what a man, if you was a man, I don't ever want to hear that statement again. If I can't say something about your hair, because I don't know what it's like to be a black woman, then don't you open up your goddamn mouth and say nothing about what it takes to be a man. So if we're gonna be fair on that, then fine. I'm willing to roll with that. If we're gonna be fair, but it ain't gonna be no one-sided thing where you can do whatever and say whatever you want to say about men's issues, but then if a man says something about the hair issue, oh, he's out of line or he's off bounds. No, that ain't happening. And as far as I'm concerned, it is a men's issue in terms of hair because I'm the one that's dealing with you. I'm dealing with the woman. So I should have some say. I'm not going to date no woman with a jerry curl. That's just me. That shit does not attract me. The Udayan weave does not attract me. And the sisters are saying, well, the reason why women are wearing wigs and weaves is because the men are attracted to it. Let me show you how ridiculous that argument is. Men are also attracted to submissive women. How come you ain't doing that? So you're telling me that you're gonna acquiesce to what men want when it comes to hair, but then when it comes to submission, oh fuck that shit, I ain't submitting to nobody. Why don't you show that same tenaciousness when it comes to your hair? Why don't you say to these guys, you know what, fuck you, I ain't wearing no weave and no perm for you, nigga. This is my hair, and if you don't like it, go step and bounce to some other chick. You know, it's like this convenient shit. 1 minute you're going to take a stand when it comes to this, but then you don't want to take a stand when it comes to something else. Let's be, I won't say fair because I know the sister called me out on saying that word fair. But let's be reasonable. Let's be consistent. Okay? So that's, I just feel that sisters ultimately have to come to the same conclusion that brothers did. Brothers don't look at Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and the guy that plays Thor and goes, wow, I really wish my hair looked like that. Brothers don't do that. Brothers will acknowledge that, white men have a certain hair texture, and we don't even hate on them because of it. It's like it's not even something in our minds. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like right now. Before, back in the days when we was conking it up, it was an issue. They, the brothers wanted to look like, wanted to have the Cab Calloway and all that shit. But now, at some point, brothers just said collectively, you know what? I'm not a white boy. I will never be a white boy. And my hair is what it is. So I'm just going to cut that shit into a short Caesar. I'm going to lock that shit. I'm going to braid it. And that's it. That's the variety of styles that the brothers have with their hairstyles. And like I said, I made a discussion on the overtime discussion on the Love Symposium where I was talking about the fact that these same women that say they want so much damn variety don't seem to have a problem with non-variety with the men that they're attracted to. Because Idris Elba has a short Caesar. He ain't changed. He ain't got no jerry curls. He ain't got no braids, no locks. He's been rocking this same style ever since he's been in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Nobody seemed to care about it. LL Cool J at one point had the receding hairline, and he kept it covered up by the cap and made excuses as to why he was covering it up, and tried to make it and rock it and make it look cool. But at some point he said, you know what, I'm getting tired of wearing these damn hats. Let me just cut all this crap off of my head and go bald. So the day sisters, but when it comes to sisters, it's like they'll look at an Indian woman or a white woman and go, wow, I wish my hair looked like that. That's the difference. And what I'm hoping for is that one day, the sisters collectively go, you know what? I'm getting tired of spending $500 and buying $1,000 weaves. This is some bullshit. If I got alopecia and it's spotted, I'm gonna cut all that shit off and go bald. Because I know some sexy ass bald sisters, and I'll date a bald sister in a minute. In a minute. The only reason why I have not is because the circumstances have not presented themselves. But don't think for one instant that I'm gonna be turned off because a sister is bald. Hell no. I'll date a bald sister in a minute. Now the issue that the one that we should be talking about is the chemical burn issue. Because if a woman's hair or head and skin is damaged, I can sort of understand why she wouldn't want to rock that. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a vanity. We all have vanity, and we all want to look good. And if we're looking disfigured, we don't want that to be out there for public consumption. So I think we need to be sensitive to that. But I think we also need to be real and know that the majority of the sisters out here is not suffering from that condition. And another thing I want to address is this whole, like people say, well, Rosa Parks wore a perm. Or if we go back to ancient Kemet, the sisters in ancient Kemet wore wigs. Okay, are you seriously trying to tell me that the reason why sisters wear wigs and perm is because they're trying to call on the spirit of Rosa Parks and her ancient ancestors in Kemet? Or is the reason why they wearing the perms and the wigs, and like I said, minus the medical issues and the chemical issues, is the reason why they wearing it because they are ashamed of their coarse, nappy, black African hair? They're ashamed of it, and they cover it up. So the only thing we should be addressing right now is not all these little side issues. Why are our women ashamed of their natural hair? Let's divorce the alopecia issue. That's an issue that we got to deal with. Let's deal with it. The chemical burn issue is an issue we got to deal with. Let's deal with it. But those two issues don't make up the vast majority of why women perm and wig and weave. Doesn't make up for that. And that's being very disingenuous to try to throw that in the mix as if that's the real reason why women is doing it. We already know that that's not true. There are some women that do it because of those issues, and I believe that those issues need to be addressed, and women who have those issues should be making videos about it. Actually, there was a girl on YouTube. It's called Bald and Sexy. If anybody wants to do a search on Bald and Sexy, a woman who has alopecia, and she did a video where she cut all her hair off in the video and went bald. And she was saying how she wears the what do they call it? The lace front weaves or whatever that is. And so she goes through a full explanation of that. You know what I'm saying? So we need that. Definitely is an issue, and more sisters need to put that out and address it. And definitely the hair issue is an issue that I believe that black women are going to have to come to some type of consensus and make a decision. And that's a decision that they are only going to make. The men can have their commentary, but the sisters are going to have to deal with this, and the sisters are going to reach a point where that shit is just going to become too expensive and too much trouble to maintain. And I can't imagine where it's 90 degrees outside and you wearing cornrows with an extra hair on top of it. That's how much longer are we going to do this shit? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's just my follow-up video on this. And I just want to end it on this, that I love my sisters, and I'm not judging my sisters. I'm saying, which is why I said I made the video initially in the first place. I don't want to hear people saying that, oh, you hate being black, you da 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 da. Has nothing to do with that. But there is an issue of us hating our hair, and we need to address that. And let's leave it at that, and let's not get caught up in these other side issues that distract from the main focus, which is the effects of white supremacy on the African mind. Alright? So that's all I got to say on that, and I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.